this is Ashlyn Davis, and she is a river guide. She's been guiding for how long?
4 years.
4 years. Okay, what's the longest run you've done?
The longest run, I've done a couple of 50Ks.
Wow. And how long does that take?
It depends on the day.
Really?
But a few hours at least.
Yeah.
Multiple hours.
Okay, nice. And what is the longest you've been out on a trip?
Yeah, for guiding, I guide trips up to 7 days, but just for fun, I've done 2 private trips rafting the Grand Canyon, and both of those were 25 days.
Oh, that's a long time on
It
a
is.
river.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Okay. Okay, so when you're guiding, you're getting a lot of physical exercise.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing a lot of strenuous work. So you're strong, but you still have some patterns that develop from that, just like any other sport.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you find you have the most trouble in your body?
I would say the last year and a half, it's been my IT band,
Okay.
specifically on my right leg.
Okay.
I think running and rafting both
Both
play
have
into that.
contributed to that. Okay, anything else?
I do get some pain in my left shoulder. I think that one's also from rafting. But that one kind of comes and goes depending
On
whether or
how
not I'm
you're
rafting.
okay. Anything in your hands? Most
My hands, sometimes when I'm rowing, my hands will fall asleep.
Sure.
And that'll kind of linger for a little while, but that tends to get
to
better.
go away when you're done. Okay, but the IT band tends to.
That one stays.
That one stays. Okay, so we're going to do some work on that, and we're going to do some range of motion testing. Okay. I want you to bring your knees up. So we're just going to do one leg at a time. So how far can you bring your foot out this direction? Okay, without the other one coming off. So hips stay on the floor.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. Okay, good. And then how about across the body? Okay, so she has amazing external rotation, but limited internal rotation. Let's try the other leg. Okay, so out, still a little bit limited, and then across. So not quite as much external rotation on the left leg, but still a lot, still really good. And then let's go one more time out, so you're going into internal rotation, other direction. Yeah, there you go. So it's actually better than the right leg. Which one hurts? The right?
The right leg.
Okay, so the right leg is the one you have the hardest internal rotation, or the most limitation on internal rotation. Okay, so I'm gonna have you sit in a 90-90 position so that let's do your right leg first. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Okay, so you can sit up pretty straight here. You have pretty good external rotation. So the front leg is in external rotation and the back leg is in internal rotation. Can you put your knee, move it back just a little bit? There you go. So that makes it a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. How does that back leg feel?
It's good. It's tight.
It's tight right there. Okay, so it's going to be harder on the other leg. So this is the internal rotation. So we're going to stay here a minute, and I want you to just press it into the floor. Good. Now you're sitting up pretty straight. I get a lot of people that are like, "Rrr." So that's good. Can you pick up your back foot?
Not without moving.
Not without moving. So our goal is that you can, okay, go ahead and use your hands and bring it. Any cramping in glute med? You feel okay?
It's okay.
It's okay. Okay, so the goal is to be able to pick it up a little bit higher and eventually be able to pick your foot up and then pick up the whole back leg. Can you?
I gotta go way to the side.
Way to the side to do that. Okay, so that's the goal, to be able to have that kind of control with internal rotation. Because when you're on a raft, you're spending a lot of time in external rotation. So you can probably pick that front leg up just fine. Yeah, look at the control you have in external rotation. So we're just going to work on control with internal rotation. Okay, switch sides. So you should do that like every day. just trying to pick that foot up, excuse me, is going to help the mind control that muscle better. Okay, so okay, so this one's harder, we knew it would be. And see how you're a little more out to the side. So the goal is to be able to sit up straighter with that back leg. And then can you try to pick that one up? See how your hip is farther off the ground, and so we know that is internal rotation on the right side is harder. So the goal is to be able to, so is it more uncomfortable when you try
A little bit more, yeah.
A little bit more. Okay, so the goal is to be able to pick it up and pick the foot up. Okay. Okay, so okay, so you're going to come down onto your back, and I'm going to have you, okay, so you're going to make the back of your neck long, and so you're going to keep your rib cage down, and that means you want it parallel to the floor. That means you're going to engage your abs to keep your ribs down. Now that doesn't mean you're smashing your low back. You still want that lumbar curve. I should be able to like slide a spatula under your low back. Does that make sense? But your ribs, I want you to hold them down. Don't allow them to pop up and let your spine go into extension, okay? Now I want you to take out some of the bend of and you're gonna really work your knees together, okay? So now your rib cage is down, your knees are together. Now I want you to bring your toes together, but your heels are gonna stay apart, and pull your toes back into dorsiflexion. So it looks like pull, really engage your shins, and pull. Take a little, so I want about a 2-inch separation between your heels. Okay. So there you go. Okay, so, and let's move, take a little bit of the, I want your knees bent about 10 inches. Right now they're about 14, so there you go. Okay, pull your toes way back. Okay, in this position, your hips are in internal rotation. How does that feel?
I can feel it like in my muscles on my inner thighs there.
Okay, so when you don't have a lot of internal rotation, your inner thighs are going to be weaker than your outer, this vastus lateralis and TFL. They're going to be more dominant, so they're going to control a lot of the movement that you're doing. So spending some time in this position is a really good thing. Just spending a couple minutes here. You can make it more intense by pushing your heels into the floor, and then isometrically, which means you're not going to move, pulling them up towards your glutes. So it's just the muscle contraction. So you're turning your hamstrings on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so spending some time here every day where your hamstrings are on and your adductors are on, but really keeping your ribs down. So there's lots going on, lots to pay attention to. Okay, so that's the first one. Like, do it every day. It's such a simple thing, and it will make a huge difference. Rotation, the inside of your thighs get weaker, and you get really strong here. So it's going to be a process of releasing here and strengthening here. So let's try this one. Let's stack. Now you're going to be on your side. Do you know what a Copenhagen plank is?
No.
Okay. So with a Copenhagen plank, I'm going to show you. These are not high enough, but those will be. Even a stool is good. I need to have one made. But a chair, that's like too high. So I like to, there's lots of versions, but what you're going to do here is just come up. So you're start with this on the floor. So let's start with your left side. We'll do both sides. So, and you're going to, so this one's bent. You're going to come up on so you're going to engage your lats, and you're going to really turn on your adductors, okay? It's not, so you just went full into it. So in that, when you do it like that, both adductors are on. If you want to just, at first, you can leave the one on the floor. You can leave that on the floor and just come up. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you're pulling your elbow towards you and you're engaging your adductors that are going to block. Okay?
Yeah.
And then if you want to make it more intense, which is great, then pull. There you go. And that's a little more intense, but that's going to strengthen adductors as well as that. So that's good. Okay, so it's turning that on, and then we're going to release everything on your IT band. So let's do one more. It's also turning hamstrings on because you're pretty quad dominant because you run and you run really long distances. So that produces a lot of quad dominance. So I'm going to have you come to all fours, and I'm going to place this ball in your hamstrings.
Okay.
And I want you to grab the ball with your hamstrings and between your hamstrings and your calves. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And you're going to, without doing any spinal extension, you're going to bring it up. Good. And then rotate out. And then just do like a circle. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Really grabbing the ball with your hamstrings. You can even, the most important action is the fact that you're grabbing the ball. And you can really make that an intense contraction, or you can back it off. Just if it starts to cramp, then. But what you don't want to do is come into extension here. So go ahead and pull up, but keep a neutral spine. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we want to strengthen hamstrings. We want to strengthen adductors. Adductors most of all. That's going to make the biggest difference. So at the same time, we have to release the outside. And the way I want you to do that is you're going to roll out. Do you have a pair of balls?
Not like this.
Are they smaller?
I've just used a tennis ball before.
Oh, these are much better
Okay.
because they're grippy and they have a little bit of a give. So you're going to start on TFL, which looks like kind of on your side, but kind of on your front. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to, let's just put it right at, TFL is like right at the base of your hip bone. And you're just going to bend and straighten your knee while the balls are there.
Which side?
Start with your right one.
So right.
So it's like you're kind of on your side, but you're kind of, there you go.
Right here.
Yes. So TFL is right there.
Okay.
Okay, so do you feel like you're there?
I don't know. Right, like right here.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
And then I bend the right leg.
Bend the leg that's down, the bottom leg, yes. Bend and straighten. How does that feel?
I don't know, things are popping.
Okay, so that muscle is tight. We can just use a pair of smaller balls too. Let's try this one, single one. It's going to be a little more pressure, but let's try that. How
I
is
can't
that?
tell if it's on the bone or on
So your hip bone is here, and you want to be right below it. And it might feel like bone, but there's a muscle there first.
the. I think.
Yeah. It's hard to tell. Is it uncomfortable or is it okay?
Mm,
Do you feel like it's stretching?
I don't.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if I.
Okay. So maybe TFL is fine right now. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to these, and I want you to roll out your lateral quad. So vastus lateralis goes from here to the knee.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to lay, you're still on your front, but you're a little bit on your side,
Okay.
okay? And you're going to roll all the way down to your knee. So you're way on IT band, so I want you to come a little more, yeah, there you go, right there. Yeah, that position looks perfect. Clear down to your knee. Yeah, you kind of have to like inch your way forward. How does that feel?
I definitely feel
You
it.
definitely feel it. Okay, I want you to find the most uncomfortable spot,
Okay.
and then I want you to contract the muscle into the balls, and then release. So like you're gonna grip the balls with the muscle,
Okay.
okay? And you're just gonna do that like 3 or 4 times and hold it for 10 seconds. So it should be uncomfortable like a massage is uncomfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then roll down. So find another uncomfortable spot. Right, it's uncomfortable like a massage. And then I want you to bend. So you're holding on that spot, bend and straighten the knee. So what you're doing is pinning the muscle and stretching it. So really rolling is only on, when you just roll with a foam roller, you're just compressing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to pin and stretch. You've got to stretch the muscle. You've got to stretch the fascia to really release it. So having that pressure of the balls and then bend and straighten. Okay? And yeah, it's totally uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the less uncomfortable it will be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So a really big part of getting better is going to be releasing that, because while it is so tight and overactive, you're always going to be out of alignment there. So you've got to balance the strength of your adductors with the strength of the outside muscles, the vastus lateralis. So strengthen here, the inside, and release outside. So if you go to the gym, you can totally use the adductor machine to build that, but the exercise is called an anchor bridge. Will build adductors, and then the Copenhagen plank is a great adductor. I really love that one for adductors. So what that looks like is probably doing that 3 times a week, and you'll be really surprised how fast you fix it. It works. It really, it's just balancing out strength from the inside to the outside. I'm gonna show you how, okay, so that's legs. And it's really like pretty simple. You can totally do it. And it'll change running. It'll change how that works. I'm trying to think what other adductor ones are great. Do you have anything else you do for adductors?
Not really.
We tend to not use them, but they're really, really important. Oh, I know what I want to do. What do you do to release your psoas?
Which one's the psoas?
That's the one on the inside.
I don't know that I do anything.
Okay, so I want to show you a couple stretches for that. You can put the balls, I usually have a pair that are smaller, and I keep giving them away, and I need a pair more. But you can use these, they're not as ideal, but so you're gonna lay down and put them on the inside of your hip bone. Okay. You may have to use a smaller one. I mean, what you need is the little ones, but I keep using them. So inside of the hip, and you're just gonna lay down right on it. How does that feel?
There is definitely pressure.
Yeah. So then again, you're gonna bend and straighten your knee.
Can I try that one?
Yeah, yes, you really need the middle ones, but. Good. How does that feel?
It's doing something.
It's doing something. If it's uncomfortable, it's doing something. Okay, now this time leave your knee bent and windshield wiper back and forth. See, that leg really struggles with internal rotation. That's definitely, so you want about 30 degrees more internal rotation. You want your foot to be able to, see how far, you have amazing external rotation. And that's the pattern you've built on a raft, is to bring that leg out.
Yeah.
But we've got to bring it in because like you really need internal rotation for walking. That will start to wear your knees. It'll start to, and you can see that they're made to move this way, but not very far laterally, like side to side. But what happens is if your hip, this bone, isn't rotating internally or externally, then what happens, two things happen. You ever seen people walk where they're literally moving their whole pelvis instead of picking their knee up? So it really wears on the SI joints. It puts way too much pressure. And it moves the facet joints too much side to side, so your low back starts to hurt and the SI joints start to hurt. So even though you're like in amazing shape and you're super strong, it's the little tiny details. Does that make sense? Like you're stronger than, like you're in really great shape, but that range of motion, everything was made to move. It's like amount. So if this little motion here at your hips isn't happening, then too much is happening here, and you'll wear your knees out. So you want to stay being able to do all the things that you're doing, and you can. You can totally do all of the athletic things you're doing. You just have to pay attention to the details. So every movement has a counter pose. If you're spending time in external rotation, you have to spend time in internal rotation. So you can totally do raft, you can run, but you have to spend time in the counter pose. So the anchored bridge is great, and anything that builds your adductors. So the Copenhagen plank, it takes like nothing, you know what I mean? You can do it. You can do it where you're rafting. Does that make sense? You can use a raft to do a Copenhagen plank. Just put your knee on it. Does that make sense? Probably be about the right height. And then just build your adductors. But you're gonna have to also, because you're always using those muscles, you're gonna have to release those as well. So paying attention to releasing those, because you don't have a massage therapist on the river, you have to release them. And you can totally do it every day. The balls work great, they're really useful. You can also use them because you're using your pecs so much when you row, your anterior delt. You want to roll those out. So I'm going to have you put those on the inside. So if you lay down, let them like between your rib cage and your shoulder. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. So these are a little bigger than I want, but yes, between. So vertically. So turn up.
This way.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And you might bring your arm out straight. You kind of have to roll around and slip. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You might even have to like rotate so that you're opening up. Yeah, there you go. And roll over anterior delt and the pec attachments. How does that feel?
It's tight.
It's tight. Yes, because you are in a pattern. So even though you stopped for the season, you're in that pattern. Does that make sense? So even though you're not rafting for a few months, you're still in that tight pattern. So rolling that space out is a really good idea. And that like looks like you have to do it pretty often. Does that make sense? Like once a week isn't enough. You have to do it. And it takes a good 2 minutes to get the muscle to release. So, and work on releasing that. That allows the shoulders to come back because everything you do is in front of you. You're building these muscles so much. What happens is the shoulder starts to round. And you don't want that because you're young. You want to open that up. So it's the same thing. Release these muscles and build what's in back. So I have, if you can use a band, or you can go to the gym and do, there's lots of ways to do this, but you want to bring your shoulder into external rotation. So if you start with your thumbs towards each other and you stretch them, you want your thumbs to come up so that you're in external rotation. But you don't want, so like watch my spine. You're not, like, I don't want that range of motion to come from your spine. I want it to come from your shoulders. So thumbs pointed in and a little closer together. There you go. And now you're going to, without moving your spine, so you have to engage your core so your spine doesn't move. You're going to pull it apart and externally rotate. Okay, so that tells you you're so strong here and the back is weaker.
Okay.
So it's all about building all the sides of a joint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so start with them. You may want to even start with a lighter band, but the important movement here is that your thumbs rotate up. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So everything has to be equal straight. So really building the back because you've built the front so much. You probably have amazing biceps, amazing anterior delts. We want to do rhomboids, posterior delt, and your lats. Those are the three muscles we really want to work. So working so that you externally rotate. Thumbs are pointed in and you externally rotate. No spinal movement. You can use a thinner band to get the full movement. You can start with your hands a little further apart. Okay, so I want your wrists straight. Do you see? There you go. Straight wrists. Yes. Now externally rotate. Can you bring it so you're okay? So posterior delt is really weaker. So work to be able to. So can you turn your wrists out? Okay. Really working on that. Straight wrists, being able to externally rotate your shoulder. Good, without any spinal extension. It's crazy how you can be in such good shape for one activity, but it can leave you vulnerable to injury if you don't round it out. So that's why cross training is a really good thing. So I would really work on that. Posterior delt, lats, rhomboids. So another one I like is with a stretch strap. You can just, this is a great way to release the shoulder joint. We want to just see the mobility you have in your shoulder. Without, yeah, good. Okay, now I want you, let's stand up and I have no idea if this will catch you probably won't, but that's okay, we don't need all this. Okay, so I'm gonna have you stand with your hands pointed this way. What you're gonna do is bend your knees and come over, and you're just gonna allow your traps to release. It actually feels so easy. I seriously try to do it every day. I can tell my right one is really tight. And then when you stand up, don't let your hands fall. You're like pulling the strap apart. You're engaging posterior delt, rhomboids, and lats. You're pulling apart and then let your hands come down. Okay. So come over, go ahead and bend your knees. Okay.
That feels so good.
Doesn't it feel good? And you can feel how, so your left one is tighter. Your right one has a little better range of motion. So just really allow your shoulders to come up into the back of your head. And then when you're ready, stand up, but don't let your hands fall. Really pull the strap apart. Good. So that's actually pretty good. And then come down. That's another one to help build everything in back. If you go to the gym, like lat pulls are good. Just focus on the back of the body because you've built the front